What is going on, boxing fans, man? Welcome to another episode of my show, Bourbon and Boxing, baby, where the drink is bourbon and the talk is boxing, man. That's what we like to do here. That's what I'm talking about. This is episode 17. We're going to call this episode Terminated. Joyce has now officially been terminated from any talks of the future. Zhang has destroyed him. He has terminated Joyce. Go to the chopper. You are eliminated. No longer in the talks, Joyce. That's what we're gonna call it, Terminator, baby. How'd you guys like my Arnold voice? Tried really hard on that one, so I expect some replies. I'm playing, man. Anyways, welcome to my show. We're gonna recap the fights over the weekend. Zhang versus Joyce, of course. We just mentioned that one. Zhang versus Joyce 2, shall I say. We're also going to break down the William Zepeda or not William Zepeda, Jose Zepeda and Hitchins fight. We're going to break down that fight. We're going to talk about the controversy in the Sandy Ryan fight that I was very surprised that Teddy Atlas didn't talk about. Maybe I didn't finish his show. I didn't finish the whole show, so maybe he talked about it at the end, but Teddy did not hit on that one. Kind of surprised, Teddy, man, that you didn't hit on that, dude, especially with talking about boxing reform. Also, some news, man. A couple fight uh, agreements, rumors, and then also another rumor about Showtime Boxing, man. But we're going to get into all that and much, much more on Bourbon and Boxing. Today, we're drinking on Camp Dennison. This is a bourbon out of Kentucky. Used to be a former military camp or base back in the day, supposedly. So Camp Dennison, some pretty good bourbon, especially for the price, man. $20. I'm telling you right now, you cannot beat the price on it, man. Well, we're going to take our shot. And while we're doing that, let's go ahead and give a shout out to our sponsor, Brown Family Construction. Any of your construction needs in the Northern Kentucky area or Cincinnati area, feel free to hit up Brown Family Construction. They do any indoor, outdoor work, very professional, very good at what they do. Jason Brown, the main guy there. Hit him up on Facebook to get all your information, and I'll also drop some information at the end of my show so you can get more information on how to contact Brown Family Construction, the sponsor of the show. Once again, thanks for joining me. I am Jeff, your host. We're going to get this show rocking, baby. Let's get this shot down the drain, baby. I say baby a lot. Why not? Oh, yeah, baby. Just sounds cool. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, down the drain. Ugh. That wasn't too bad. But anyways, man, let's break down that Joyce versus Zhang 2 fight and what we saw in that. Well, we saw what pretty much I think we thought we were going to see, but I didn't think Zhang was going to make it look that easy, but he absolutely did. And Joyce, the Stonefoot style fighter, proved he did what I kind of talked about in my last show. I said, hey, he needs to be more mobile, move his head, all that kind of stuff. I don't know how much it's going to help him, but he's got to also throw punches while doing that. And we learned real fast, man, that Joyce was not the guy that could throw a punch and move at the same time. He was moving, being mobile, but it kind of handicapped him from being able to throw those punches that he's known for, that big right, whatever. And I think once towards the end of the first round, he felt Zhang's power. Zhang threw some combos on him towards the end to kind of like, hey, I know what you're doing. I already know what you're trying to do, and I'm going to take you out early. And he did. 3 rounds, guys. 3 rounds. Joe Joyce went down in 3 rounds, face planted. And that was it, man. Zhang, on the other hand, he's getting a lot of hype around him. A lot of hype. A lot of hype that I don't personally agree with because Zhang is 40 years old. He's 26-1. He's fought one other top 10 fighter outside of Joe Joyce, which was Herbervic, and he lost that fight, Philip Herbervic. And he lost that fight to him in a unanimous decision. So, what is Zhang? What is Zhang, man? It's hard to tell. Maybe he's a guy that's been over in China, so he hasn't gotten a lot of the big fights. But like I said, he's 40 years old. He is 26-1, so he has 27 fights under his belt. He's never been in talks to fight Joshua Wilder, Usyk, Fury, none of these other big-time opponents. and Joyce didn't have to fight him and chose to fight him. So maybe a mistake on Joyce's part, because we all knew watching Joyce that he was a very slow-footed, no mechanic boxer. He literally went on. He had a strong jaw, and that was it, man. I got a jaw. You can't knock me out. And well, he got knocked out by the bigger guy. Not much bigger, Joyce Zhang. I don't think he was much bigger, but he came in and just kind of. I don't know what to say, man. It's a weird fight to judge because I want to give Zhang his props, but Joyce was just that bad, and never, and to me was never in contentions ever. He beat Daniel Dubai, but Daniel Dubai was a stone foot fucking fighter. Nothing impressive about that guy either. That's a lot of these heavyweights. Joe Parker, Dubai, Joyce was another one that just stone foot, not a lot of mobility to them. And that's 20, 30 years ago. That's what heavyweights were. Now you're in a new era, new generation where guys are mobile, they're moving, they're more athletic. If you look at a big baby Anderson, even a Tyson Fury at 6'9", the way he moves, Usyk, the way he moves, Wilder even moves, knows that you have to move around in that ring and be mobile and be able to throw those punches. Multitasking, guys, multitasking. Joyce showed he couldn't do that. What's next for Joyce? I don't know what's next for Joyce. Rebuild your career. Maybe find a guy that can actually show you how to box, because whoever your trainer was did you absolutely no justice, brother. He did you no justice. You went out there and looked like a fool that couldn't box, man. So not a good look for you. I would go to the drawing board, fire everybody in my camp, fire my trainers, and go find somebody who can teach you how to box if they can, man. You're later in your career at this point. I don't know if you can teach this guy the mobility that he needs, because he's got a good jaw. And Teddy Atlas claims that, hey, if Teddy trained him, he could possibly have made this guy a champ. I don't see that at all. I like Teddy a lot, and Teddy's an amazing trainer. And don't get me wrong, if Teddy says he can make him a champ, he probably could have made him a champ. I would have liked to see how he could have made him more mobile, because sometimes it's just not in a guy, man. It's just not there. It's just not there, man, that you just can't be that mobile. But anyways, that fight, we saw it. We kind of knew it was going to happen. I had Zhang as a favorite. I thought, well, Joyce is going to come in, make it more of a fight, but I saw immediately he was absolutely uncomfortable with moving and trying to box at the same time, and he was trying to do too much moving, which was just taking his mind completely off what needed to be done, when throwing punches and reacting and just doing in there to box, and he didn't come to box. He came to move, mobile, and try to duck and weave this guy as much as he could, and took him off his game, and that's not who he is. Zhang looked really good, but it's like we said, he looked good against Joyce. So it's hard for me to say, yeah, he should be next in line to fight Anthony Joshua. Or he should be next in line to fight an Usyk or a Wilder, or he deserves a fight against Fury. I don't believe he deserves any of those fights yet. There's a couple young guys you can test him against. I agree with Teddy Atlas. I said it earlier in the week when somebody asked the question, who should Zhang fight next, as soon as the fight was over? And I said Big Baby Anderson or Andy Ruiz, who I like both of those guys to match up really well with Zhang. Anderson being a younger up-and-coming guy with top rank, Zhang being with top rank. Easy fight to make right there, guys. I think you could make that happen. I don't know if Anderson's camp would want to take that fight yet, but that's the fight that, hey, if you want to get to the next level, you go beat Zhang, and then, yes, you are a top heavyweight, a top 5 heavyweight if you go in there and beat Zhang, in my opinion. But, hey, that's what it is, man. Zhang with the bang, baby. That's what we're going to call him. Zhang with the bang. He didn't even get to showcase what he can actually do. He's got a lot more to his arsenal. So that's why I'd like to see him against a more mobile guy like Big Baby Anderson. That would be a hell of a fight, man. Or even Andy Ruiz, who's got a good punch and he's mobile. Another good fight for him, guys. Maybe a Richard Torres, young, inexperienced. He might expose Richard, being the smaller guy. But not another bad idea, guys. But, okay, let's move over. Now, the undercard on that, I seem to have forgotten most of the undercard, so it must not have been that impressive, honestly, because I'd have already forgotten it. But then we went over to the nightcap over in the U.S., over in Orlando, Florida. Had some great fights on that, guys. Great fights on that, man. Some good undercard fights. The Rolls fight, Sandy Ryan, Jessica Mascal, Connor Benn was back in the ring, and then you had the main fight with Jose Zepeda and Hitchins, baby. But this fight, honestly, I will agree with what I'm hearing from a lot of people. It was kind of a snoozer. I wasn't super impressed, but you got to take that from Hitchins, man. He is a orthodox boxer. He sticks to the guidelines. 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. I'm back. 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. I'm awake again. Yeah, that's pretty much how that fight went for me, man. Tried to stay awake during it. It was pretty boring. Hitchinson, he's got the ump. I love his style as far as the 1-2. His straight right is just a beast, but he doesn't throw combinations in there. He needs to mix up the arsenal a little bit, bring something else to it. He is a snoozer of a fighter, kind of like Haney. But he doesn't have everything in the bag that Haney has. He's not on Haney's level, in my opinion. I think Haney outboxes him. But, any of the good top guys would outbox him, I think. I just think he doesn't have a lot in his arsenal. He sticks to that 1-2 a lot. And if you could try to time him, a little bit with that, then, because he's really fast with it. So that's the thing. And he lives and dies. I mean, he throws that jab perfect. And he throws that straight right perfect. But he's not an exciting guy. Like I said, it was a snoozer of a fight. His last fight went the distance. So maybe he seems to lack the power. Now, those punches sound like, especially that straight right, sounds like it's got something on it. You can hear it and you can see the guy's being phased, but he doesn't follow up, man. He just goes back into his stance and gets ready for that 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. I'm sorry. It's making me pass out just thinking about it. But Jose Zepeda, being the older guy, like I said in this fight, he didn't have a lot to prove on his last leg like a couple other guys in the last few weeks. He's just trying to get another big fight. That's probably not going to happen for him. He took pretty much just a butt kicking in this fight. He never was in it. Couldn't establish his jab. Couldn't get inside. And I think that's where you might be able to get Hitchins. Hitchins doesn't like you coming inside. When you get inside on him, he starts to hug you like you're his girlfriend. Oh, I'm gonna get you. Yeah, you my wife. You my wife. Yeah. He's gonna hug up on you. But that shows that he doesn't really have that inside game, in my opinion. So if you get a guy like Shakur Stevenson, a guy like Haney, a guy like Lopez, who's going to get inside on you, you're not going to be able to stop that. They're more aggressive style fighters. Smarter IQ, better, faster fighters. They're going to get inside on you. So you got to learn to start fighting a little bit on the inside. You just can't hug guys all day because eventually if you're in a big fight, you can't hug all night. They're going to warn you. And you're going to get deducted points for it. So that's a flaw on his part as far as not being able to fight on the inside. But that's one of the flaws that I've seen on him. He's got a straight 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. Just absolutely perfect. That right is beautiful. But it's all he seems to have. I haven't seen him throw hooks, uppercuts, any type of combination after throwing that right, stunning his guys. He looked like he had plenty of opportunities, plenty of delays between those times, and he just didn't do it, guys. So Hitchison, although young and talented, he is good. He's just got to add more to it, and if he doesn't, he's not going to be able to beat the top guys. I can tell you that, man. That's my opinion. On the undercard of that, you had Connor Benn back in the ring. I don't really know what to think about that because he's got to come over. I had a feeling he was going to come over to the States after the situation over in the UK. The BBBFC has not cleared him, so he's not allowed to fight over there right now. He doesn't have a license, so I figured the only other place he's going to go is, you go to Saudi Arabia or you're going to come over here to the States. Saudi Arabia is the big money, and maybe he makes, I was thinking earlier, how's he going to sell this Chris Eubanks Jr. fight? You're not selling it here in the U.S., neither of them are big enough names in the States for anybody to gravitate towards that fight. Boxing fans are going to want to see it, but the names, Ben and Eubank, are so, it's all connected with the UK. It's, a big UK fight. That's big. Two families in the UK fought each other in the past. The two dads did. So you automatically know that that's a fight that's got to happen in the UK. So although Conor Benn can run over here to the States, he's got to clear his name over there in the UK to get that fight versus Chris Eubanks Jr. to happen. Otherwise, it's not going to happen anywhere but the UK and sell what it should sell over there because you're not going to sell those tickets here in the States. But it'll be a sellout, an absolute sellout over in the UK. People will come for miles for that shit. I guarantee they get on their boat. I want to roll my boat to the fight. But anyway, I made that up. I don't even know if they rowed their boats over there and shit. That was way back in the day. I'm going to light up this blizzle, my fizzle. But look, man, that fight, Connor, he went the distance. Adolfo, I think, was his opponent's name. Is a Mexican fighter. Tough guys. You don't want to. The Mexicans are always going to bring the fight to the, to you. They're tough, man. Yeah, it's hard to get them out. Connor was laying. He looked good. I'm not gonna lie. Landed some great combinations. Took some hits. Withstood them. Didn't look like they phased him at all. And he was just landing good, great combination punches. So, what I seen from Connor, he looked really, really good. Looked like he hasn't missed a step. And, but like I said, he's got to clear his name over there. It doesn't matter what you do here. I don't think he's going to be able to build his name enough in the States for him to become a big fighter over here and just to say, screw, I don't need the UK and I don't need that license over there. He absolutely does, in my opinion. But anyways, on another fight on that undercard was Sandy Ryan versus Jessica Mescal. I watched Sandy Ryan fight a hell of a fight, and Jessica Mescal didn't, she wasn't bad herself. She fought a good fight, but Sandy Ryan absolutely dominated the fight, in my opinion. She controlled every aspect of it. I would have scored it 8-2. Being kind to Jessica Mescal, 7-3. But overall, Sandy Ryan won the fight, and when we got to the end of the fight, one of the judges, the very first judge, had it 97-93 in the favor of Jessica Mescal. Did we got some boos on here? I can't remember where the boo one is, but if I had it, I'd boo that right now. Yeah. Oh, no, that's the laughing one. They're laughing at. They're all gonna laugh at you. They're all gonna laugh at you. But anyways, Sandy Ryan fought a hell of a fight. Should have went home with the belts to the UK. Been a champion. She's looked really good since her loss. She rebounded off that loss, came back, revenged that loss, and has looked great since then, and then looked really great in this fight, man. So I was super, super impressed with what I saw from Sandy Ryan and Jessica Mescal. She knows she lost that fight. She's getting older in her career towards the end of it. She didn't go out like a chump. She was throwing punches. She was fighting back. But she was just outboxed that night, and Sandy Ryan was the better fighter, and she got robbed, guys. She got robbed. This is where that commission comes in. I'm just absolutely surprised that this was not talked about by Teddy Atlas with the boxing reform and the whole judging thing, man, because we want to really kind of get this under wraps, get this all kind of collected together. So if you guys want to go sign that petition, it's on Teddy's site. You can go on there, click on, sign the petition, get it over there so we can get a national committee together and start holding these judges accountable. What did you see that you saw a 97-3 fight? I mean, questionable, especially in the favor of Mescal, 97-9. If you would have said 97-93 Sandy Ryan, then no argument at all, absolutely. But 97-93 in the favor of Mescal, come on, it's too obvious, guys. It's too obvious that judge was on the take. But, in my opinion, that's where boxing reform comes in. And we're going to talk about that a little bit without getting too deep into it and making the episode super long, man, because I don't want to be here all night. It is a Tuesday night. Although I am off work tomorrow, so, I could sit here and get shit-faced drunk with you guys. But, I don't know if I want to do all that, man. I just kind of want to sit back and relax. But anyways, further in some boxing news we're going to get into right now. Now, I have heard stories about Showtime Boxing getting that Paramount is probably going to get rid of Showtime Boxing. So where does PBC go from here? How does this work? How is this a good and bad thing? All right. To me, it eliminates one of the platforms in the U.S. We don't have a lot of platforms to watch from. We got Top Rank and PBC over here in the States. Of course, you got Sky, Matchroom, all that overseas. You got some stuff up in Canada, Eye of the Tiger, promotional companies like that. But here in the States, we don't have a lot of big name ones. So it makes me wonder what happens to PBC and that whole stable that's there. That could work in the favor of boxing in the U.S. as far as getting a national committee together, right? And getting this organized to where, okay, now if all we have is Top Rank and all these guys go sign with Top Rank, then you pretty much have a league. You know what I'm saying? A league in the States. If everybody's with the same stable, you have a league now. It would be a lot easier to eliminate a lot of these intern belts, get the mandatories done, and be able to move guys up and down, man. Two loses, goes down. Three moves up. They're next in line. One loses, one goes down. Maybe has a chance to redeem himself. They go down to two, so they're next in line. But, a simple, more organized thing to where we can start getting, I can't say, in this year especially, 2023, we can't really say we're not getting the fights we want. Dude, we're absolutely getting the fights we want. We're getting the fights we want and more, and plus, and plus, plus, plus. Uh, it's unreal. This has been an amazing year for boxing. Just an amazing year. And then some of the fights that were announced, of course, Regis Prograde and Haney have announced a fight for December 9th. That's been signed, ready to go. Of course, you're going to have Shakur. Shakur's going to be fighting on November 16th. Navarrete is going to be on the undercard of that. You got Canelo Charlo coming up this weekend with an amazing undercard on that. Jesus Ramos versus Lubin. Then you're going to have Ugas versus Barros on there. Oh, my goodness. Just unbelievable right now for boxing. So if we can organize it, I mean, these fights that you see are happening now. This could continue to happen every year, and we wouldn't have a situation like if PBC doesn't exist and Frank Martin is with Top Rank. Is he able to duck Shakur? Or are we able to make it more of a league? And okay, well, if you're ducking, you're being penalized. If you're not taking the fight that you should be taking, then you're going to be penalized in other ways. You know what I mean? That's just an ideal for me on how it's, man, absolutely sucks if Showtime does go down, because I love getting those other, being able to watch Top Rank Boxing and Showtime at the same time on different multiple TVs and all that kind of stuff, man. It would make me probably have to go back to the zone to get some more of my boxing. I don't mind the zone. They just kind of rip you off for $24.99, and then they put all the super good fights on pay-per-view and want me to pay extra money. Like, screw you, DAZN. That's not cool, man. Not cool. Lower your price, and then I might be more obligated to say, yeah, $15.99 a month, and then I pay for pay-per-view. I could agree to that, but this $24.99 is more than anything I fucking pay for. So, and so I get it. I drop it. I get it. I drop it. If there's a fight I want that's not going to be on pay-per-view, I might pick it back up. All that kind of stuff. They do have some good fights coming up on DAZN, though. So we'll keep an eye on that. Oh, man, that's what I'm talking about, guys. All right, man. Like I said, there were some other fight announcements. Now, rumors, I will call these rumors because there's nothing has been clarified, nothing's been guaranteed, no negotiations, really nothing signed. Uh, there's been talks that Thurman and Tank Davis are in negotiations to make a fight at a catch weight of 145. Doesn't make much sense to me that, okay, so Thurman's got to come down 2 pounds. Tank's got to go up 10 pounds. Tank put a rehydration clause on a 140 fight with Ryan Garcia, but he's willing to jump all the way up to 145 to fight Keith Thurman. And Keith Thurman, in my opinion, is not a big enough name for me to be even excited about that fight. Thurman, to me, is past his prime. He's a guy at this point just looking for a payday. He has turned down a lot of fights that he don't believe is on his level, and he's like, well, at some point he's gonna go fight Clarissa Shields, for God's sakes. He just wants a payday. I don't think he really cares if he wins or if he loses. He wants one more big payday, and then he's gonna get out of the sport. So if he can fight a guy like Tank, get another big payday, maybe get $1 million, $2 million, and then he can jump out of the sport. But at that time, you got to ask yourself, you are passing up on money by just fighting, passing up the smaller fights. Maybe rebuild your career a little bit, Keith Thurman, and you'll be ready for those. I mean, you're asking for all these big fights. You want it all, but your name just isn't that name anymore. You're not the guy that people are like, man, he's a threat. He's a championship. He's a champion contender. I don't see that with Keith Thurman at all, guys. Not one bit. And even going up in weight, even if you have a catch weight there, I really truly think that Shakur still, or not Shakur, but Tank still holds the advantage over Thurman. Better boxer, better IQ. I don't know how much the weight would come into play and favor Thurman, but definitely the weight would favor Thurman. But overall, I don't think Thurman has what it takes to beat a Tank Davis. But I don't see what Tank gets out of that fight. What do you get out of that fight? There's no belts. Thurman doesn't hold any belts, so you're not going up to 145 to grab a belt. At this point, I'm starting to think that Tank just doesn't give two shits about belts. As long as he's making the money, that's all he cares about. And he doesn't even give two. He doesn't care. He should honestly be holding every belt in the lightweight division. He hasn't pushed a fight against Haney at all. Like it was mentioned, and he, oh yeah, I'm interested, but he's never pursued it. You don't see him on social media talking about I want those belts. I'm the true champ at 135. I'm the best in this division, and he absolutely is, in my opinion. Even if him and Shakur fight, I love Shakur. At this point, Shakur's young. That would be a really tough fight. Hard for me to pick who would win, but I would have to favor Tank Davis in that. And there's also rumors that Ryan Garcia and Teofimo Lopez have agreed to, are in negotiations, haven't agreed to anything, in negotiations down the road to fight in February. But first, Ryan wants to go be a model, you know, in Mulan. Instead of, he fought in April, while we have guys out here fighting 3-4 times a year. You got guys like Ryan fighting once a year, takes an L and doesn't come back. I don't really get that, man. I don't get the mindset of fighting once a year. I don't get what you accomplish with that. I guess if you're gonna fight a Teofimo Lopez, you're gonna get the money, but that kind of shit irritates me, man. It just once a year fighters, it aggravates me. And then that's where a league comes in handy. That's where a commission comes in handy. Get these guys in the ring. If you fight in April, I mean, Ryan hurt his ribs, give him 4 months, and then put him. He should have been back in the ring by September, October, in my opinion. And he's not. He's going to go over to Milan, do a fashion show, and decide, oh, maybe I'll fight Teofimo in February. And that's all just blah, 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 blah. And I wouldn't put it past Oscar just putting bullshit out there like he does, because he's the biggest bullshitter in boxing at this moment. Him and Don King are just buddy. Uh, but so that's just all kind of rumors. I don't even see that. But pretty much this guy's like, I'm not coming back till next year. And not that I'm like, oh man, that sucks. I don't get to see Ryan Garcia fight. He's another guy that's overhyped. You know what I mean? I said it with Luke Campbell dropping that hand. I watched him continue to do it. The 2 fights after that, the guys he were fighting weren't on the level to be able to do it. He made Fortuna come up and wait to fight him. Uncomfortable for him, whatever. So you know what I mean? The guys that he was facing weren't good enough to catch that hand dropping. And as soon as he faced somebody who was a top level guy in Tank, he absolutely got destroyed. And we saw that. And it showed me what I thought. He hasn't improved. Does he listen to his trainers? Is he listening to Derek James? Are they fixing that? Stop dropping your fucking hand. Stop trying to. I mean, in the second round when he came out and did what he did in that Tank fight, that should have showed a lot of people his immaturity. It's a reason that Joe Goosen left him. It's a reason Joe Goosen wasn't at the after post show. He wasn't there because I guarantee he's like, what the fuck are you doing? You went out and did the complete opposite of what I just told you not to fucking do. Like Joe Goosen told him in the corner, hey, you're doing all right. You're doing what you need to do. You're trying to set up that hand. Be patient. It's gonna come. And then he goes out there and just starts swinging like a little retarded kid. Excuse my language. But just starts going out there swinging like he's never boxed in his whole fucking life, like he's an amateur. So I wasn't impressed with that. That's what kind of showed me. I knew Ryan wasn't more hype than show, and I think we'll see that, especially if he fights a Teofimo Lopez, who I think is right up there with Tank as far as power and a more aggressive fighter. So, I don't think that favors Ryan, but whatever, you want to go make that fight, that's all good. Ryan Garcia, got to do it. Anyways, guys, man, I wanted to wrap this show up. Didn't want to make it too long. Just wanted to do a recap and my reaction to the fights over the weekends. Like I said, Joyce versus Zhang. Zhang just knocked him out, so we'll see where Zhang's at this point in his career. Who's next for him? I would say an up-and-coming guy. He hasn't proven that he's ready, in my opinion, for the bigger names, even though he's 40 years old. It's weird to say that. Like he's not ready for the big fights, but he's 40 years old. You know what I mean? At what point is he? His career is, not going to be much longer. But anyways, guys, man, we're going to take one last shot together. I'm going to wrap up this show. This is episode 17.
Terminated. Joyce has been terminated by the Terminator Zhang. He came in now, the new T9. He destroyed you. You deserve it with Joyce. You go to the chopper. Put the cookie down.
You guys like that? That's my Arnold impression. Hey. Round away. Need to put this blunt down. Finish up this goddamn show. All right, let's take this shot together, man, and call it a show. I got to get it edited, locked up, loaded up. I did a show yesterday, went back, watched it, didn't really like what I had on there, didn't like how the show went, so I deleted that shit, man. Came back down here today and started over, baby, because that's what you do. Go back. It's like writing a book, man. Go back, check it out. If you don't like what you see, if you don't, pre-draft, rough draft, is that? Yeah. There we go. Rough draft. There we go. Thank you guys for joining me. This is Bourbon and Boxing, episode 17. I'm your host, Jeff. Thank you, guys.